Hello, welcome to Romero Threads on YouTube, where it's all about embroidery. In today's video, I'm going to digitize the Texas flag. And what I want to do, I want to digitize this file so it's good for flats and hats. The first thing I'm going to do is verify the size of my design. So down here on the bottom right, you can see the size is showing 3 by 2. So 3 inches wide, 2 inches high. Perfect for a left chest logo and also for a hat. And for those who are channel members, this file is available for download, so you could follow along and analyze and dissect all the settings that I'm working with. So I'm going to put my grids and lock it down so it doesn't move. So at the very end, I'm going to show you how it looks both on a flat and on a hat. Because for those who are learning how to digitize, in order to fully grasp digitizing and embroidery, you have to see the final product. So I really like to show you the actual final stitch outs so you can see for yourself, and that way if we need to make any adjustments, any changes, we can actually see it in real stitch outs. Some of the information that is vital in learning is actual stitch outs and knowing all the small behind the scenes what's going on in embroidery, such as your underlay, your total stitches, how many trims. When I'm digitizing, I like to put out all that information. I like to have all my windows open so you can see exactly what's happening. If you're not looking at all the settings and all the numbers behind the scenes, okay, it's very hard to understand and learn embroidery without seeing all the information available. The first thing that I want to do here, I'm gonna click on digitize open shape, and this is just to make a straight line. The first thing I'm going to do is a global underlay. All right, all I'm doing, I'm just gonna run straight lines going across. All right, because I'm trying to flatten out. What I want to do right now, I want to flatten out the fabric with the underlay. This area where I know there's gonna be potential gaps, and this is just going to help the fabric kind of all stay together so nothing separates. So this right here, I'm already anticipating I'm going to stitch this on a white hat. So if that's the case, my global underlay could be the color of the fabric that I'm using. So this here is called a global underlay. You could be very creative with your global underlay. You can go all the way to the sides. You can add more. You could take some off. The more files that you stitch, the more projects that you work on, you'll kind of have an idea of how much global underlay you need for certain projects. Now I'm going to hide this. We'll bring it back out at the very end. So now let me start with the bottom. I'm going to start with the red first. I'm going to work my way from the bottom up. Good thing about this design, you can use the most basic digitizing tools. So here I'm going to use digitize closed shape. All right, so I'm going to do this red rectangle first. All right, right now it's aligned. Let me select that. I'm going to turn it into a tatami fill. Let's make this red. When I push H, that's my reshape tool. This pretty much gives me control of all the settings right here. I can control my angles there. We kind of have to anticipate. We want to know where we're going to start, where we're going to end, and the angles that we're working at, okay? I want to start here at this corner and work my way out to this corner here. You can also fix up your trace right here so you can see it was kind of off right here. All right. And we're going to adjust it again because we still got push-pull to take into account, but I do want to show you what happens when we trace everything perfect. I have my angle set at 45 degrees. Start here and there, and let's work with the underlay. So I want a tatami with a 90-degree angle and an edge run. Right now for this field, that's really the main settings that we need right now. All right, so let me show you one more time the settings, because once I have this box good to go, the other two boxes is going to be real similar, so I can move a little faster after this. But I have my start stop, so I have my start here, my stop here, my angles running at a 45. I have my underlay as such. Let me show you. And now once it gets to this corner, bam, now it's going to start the actual stitching. It's going to work its way all the way out, and it's just pushing its way out, right? You see how I start in the middle, and I'm working my way to the bottom right. Okay, it's just pushing out towards the right. Now let's do the white. What we can do, we can duplicate this. So Control D on Wilcom. Let me change this color. Okay, there's a lot of ways I could flip it over. All right, this is just one way here, mirror by reference line. So I'm going to make a reference line. It's kind of like, just imagine if there's a mirror right here. All right, it just flips it over. And then let's verify our angles. Since we mirrored it, our angles should be good. So we are at 135 degrees. We know we're good because we have the 45 plus the 90. That's how we get the 135 degrees. And then we have start. So we're starting at this corner. We're ending there. And then one thing that I want to show you is a very important setting is your spacing, which is your density, and your length. Okay, this here, okay, this one's important right here because as a fill, you'll see this one's like the most template, basic, industry standard, I would even say, for fills. All right, spacing 0.40 and your length 4. For the most part, you're safe here. You could go ahead and experiment with different settings. You might be able to get away with maybe 0.45 sometimes, especially if you add more underlay. And your length, you might be able to go a 5 millimeters, all right? But for the most part, this setting here has worked for me. Now what we can do, we can duplicate this again, and let's make this blue, and let's rotate it. All right, it don't gotta be perfect because here we can make it perfect right here. Right now it's at a 45. I want it to be, in a perfect world, I would want this to be at a 0 degrees, but I don't want my thread to be getting pulled to kind of have a gap down on the top and bottom. So I'm gonna put it at 15 degrees. Bam. One other thing I gotta put, so I want to start here at this corner and end right here. Perfect. All right, so far so good. You could go ahead and edit this and kind of line it up as much as you want, but like I said, we're due to the push pull, we're gonna have to make some adjustments. But what I want to show you is what happens if we just leave it like this. All right, if we were just to leave it without any push pull compensation, what would happen? Go ahead, let's digitize the stars. We have 5 points on this star. I make 1 point and then we can duplicate that. All right, so right here. All right, so we got something like that. Let's go ahead, let's hide this blue so we can see through it. I'm gonna remove, what I'm gonna do right now, underlay. Okay, I'm just gonna put a center run for right now and remove this one. Okay, I'm gonna end up changing it, but for right now, let's just see what happens if I just put a center run. Okay, and then here, if you need to adjust any of the bottom angles, okay, we can adjust it accordingly. Now it's just a matter of duplicating, reflecting, so mirror by reference. I'm just gonna go from one corner. It's like pretending there's a mirror. All right, so it mirrored right there. And let's duplicate again and mirror from one corner to the next. Bam. And what you want to see this gap right here. So there's like a little gap right here. All right, you want that just so these stitches could push. They'll push in and kind of make their way inside this little gap right here. And now what we want to do is sequence this in order. So we want to go this one first, this one second, third, fourth, fifth, and up here top right, sequence by select. Bam. All right, now let's take care of our start stops. H, where do you want to start? Where do you want to stop? Now what I want to do, I want to put a straight line going around. So I'm going to simple offset. There you go. There's going to be a sand stitch around, but here I want to show you what happens if I don't account for the push pull. Okay, where is it going to push? Where is it going to pull? Because right now I have everything traced perfect according to the drawing. Let me see. I'm going to add an extra line coming here across. So I added this line. What this is going to show me is to see how much push-pull is happening in the design. Now, let's play this. So global underlay, bam, cut. Okay, that's fine. Now I'm going to do the red because I want that bottom part to go first. All right, it's stitching it out at a 45 degree. All right, I'm gonna send this to stitch out and let's see how it looks. All right, this is the stitch out and you can see pretty much it's very close to good, but you can see gaps. So this is what I wanted to highlight right here. I wanted to show you that there are gaps happening in the design. And you could kind of tell, you could kind of anticipate according to the angle. You could kind of see where that pull is happening. So now back at the design, what I want to do, okay, what I want to do, H, now you have control, right? That's the good thing about digitizing your files is that you can control this push-pull. You can, you know, if you have a gap, you could just pull your threads a little in or a little out depending what's happening. All right, we could square it up a tad bit. And this is where we kind of had an area of concern. So we could pull this up a tad bit. And this area, right, there was a big gap. You could bring this in a tad bit. Same thing here. We could kind of square this corner out so it's not so sharp. All right, bring this out and bring this down. Okay. And that's going to close these gaps that we have. All right. So here on the screen, it looks like it's off, right? It looks like we're not even doing a good job at tracing. All right. But with that push pull, that's what happens here. All right. And also pull it all together as one. All right. So sometimes it looks like it's a lot. All right. But at the very end, it'll make its way in. Same thing here with the white. I want to pull this part out. And here on the star, we had a little gapping occurring there. What I'm going to do, instead of a center run, I'm going to put a edge run right here. We're looking good here. And I'm taking into consideration how many cuts do I have? 6. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. All right, that's exactly what I want. And now let's go ahead and let's turn this outer line here. Let's turn it into a sand stitch. Bam, right there. And let's make it white. Okay, let's put the correct underlay here. We should be good with a center run and a double zigzag. All right, that's usually safe there. And fills. All right, I want it to be 3 millimeters. Yep, that's perfect right there. With the final adjustments, let me see here. So you could kind of see where my line's at right here. All right, it's way past my actual drawing. I know how much it needs because I've seen the sample stitch out. And then you could see here, this white one, it had less push-pull. Look at that. But the white requires less push-pull, all right, by a tad bit. Right, it just needs this much. All right, push-pull is something that can be a little tricky. And sometimes it just has a mind of its own. And we just have to be ready to make any adjustments. Let's go ahead, let's put it on a hat. And this is the final stitch out. And let's zoom in and we are looking super, super clean right here. So the big thing here is anticipate your push-pull according to your stitch angles. And on the next live, I'm going to focus on some very popular flags. And I'm going to kind of get into more details of what's happening behind the scenes. All right. Because I know a lot of times the push-pull, that's the one that really frustrates embroiderers. If you have any questions, any comments, leave it down below. And I'll see you on the next one. Peace out.